Hey guys, VO Dragon Lord here, just giving you a quick run through on the 3D editor. Lee did a great job the other day showing the capabilities, so I'm just going to touch on a few things, letting you know how it works and how to operate it and what you can do with it. So first things first, you'll notice I've got a heap of entities sitting in the corner here. Basically, when you want to add an entity, you can only add what you have in your map already at the present moment, which is fine. Yeah, it's neither here nor there. You can have a little entity base like we do here and delete them later once you've got them in the appropriate positions. So let's launch and we'll give you a bit of an idea of what capabilities we have and how to operate through those capabilities. So first things first, we'll go for a quick run through here. You see we've got a bit of camo, tents, stairs, some weapons, a few crates, barrels. Yeah, so we'll play with the physics a bit. So currently active in this demo, which is great. It's the alpha candidate, a few trees, grass, houses, bridges. So what we're going to do is run over here to a nice blank area. The first thing we're going to do is press F9. This activates the 3D mode editor, and you'll see them in entity mode at the moment because it gives us a big arrow. And up the top you'll see we've got E and T, switches between entity and terrain editor. You can scroll through your entities with your left and right arrow keys just next to the question mark on your keyboard. And 1 to 7 for paint modes. Brush size is still plus and minus. Page up and page down to fly. F to lock the height that you're currently flying at, and G to turn gravity back on. Now there's a few buttons that are not listed here and a few textures you're going to use that you can't see in the 2D editor, so let's have a bit of a play. So first things first, we'll fly up and automatically you'll notice it says on the right gravity height locked, which means as I move around I'm not going up nor down. If I press the F key, you'll notice it says gravity off on the top right now. If I point down and move, I will move up and I can move down, just as you would in a 3D world. Having it locked isn't so bad though, because you can maintain a great height. First thing we're going to do is the numbers represent 1 to 7 represent what you have in your toolbar across the top. So number 1, you can edit the height of your textures. So we can lower our terrain here. We're going to bring it down, let some water in. Look at that. There we go. We can make our own little river here. And the good thing about this editor is I don't even have to move the mouse. I can steer with my arrow keys as though I'm walking through the world. This is great for setting particular paths throughout, which we'll cover in a second, because you don't have to move your mouse, you can just walk the path. So it makes life really great. So there you go. Now obviously that's lowering, we can raise terrain as well. And if we go number 2, which is set fixed height, we can set that height, build ourselves a little landing pad there. Number 3, copy existing height, so the last height we used was that one, so if I was to come over here, press the button, bam, we can get that same height again. So that stored level is a great option so far. Next option, number 4, paint pave. Again, this is great. If I turn gravity back on and I'm in paint pave mode, all I do is hold the mouse button down, set the size that I want. So let's say I want to make a walking track, put the dot in front of me, and let's start walking. Wherever I walk, we can set the pave. Not bad, quite handy. Wherever you point it, it's going to go. Okay, let's jump back up in the air for a second. So that's paving tool. If we go to number 5, this is sediment. So we're actually going to see some new textures here. Well, they're not new, they were always there, it's just not everyone knew how to access them. So we've got sediment. We also have moss. Okay, now moss is very similar, but it actually has obviously that moss down the center. Followed off with rock. Now we're all familiar with rock, obviously. Rock was between pave and it went pave, moss, and then rock. With the 3 levels, and to get a specific was very hard. Now the tool makes it a lot easier. Grass. I'm going to show you something really awesome you can do in the editor with grass in a minute. So let's paint some here. And I'm going to show you a really cool trick. Now, at the moment, it's just painting green. This is obviously number 8, actually. It's 1 to 8 is your key defining, even though it says 1 to 7. Anyway, 8 is grass. I'll show you something really cool. So if we exit and we load it back up now, we've painted our grass. It'll actually load the grass as an object. this is what I really love. You actually have some control over the thickness of the grass. So a few things that obviously not many people have covered yet is this awesome function. So let's go to editing mode. You can see that the green tile is still, or green paint is still on the landscape. But what we can actually do here is with the right mouse button we can thin this grass out. You probably heard me talk about this in one of my other demo videos, but now you can get a real feel for it. So we can choose how thick we want this grass. Actually, you know what, I'm going to do a path down the center. So I'm going to lighten the grass down here. And once I turn 3D editing mode off, you'll understand what I mean. Okay, we're just lightening that off now. Okay, so let's turn the editing mode off and go back to game mode. You see how it's thinned that grass out? I've mentioned this in one of my previous tutorials, but obviously it was very hard to control from a 2D view. Now you really get a feel for how thick the density of that grass is and how you can thin it out. Something else really cool to show you, we go back into 3D editing mode. I came across this by accident. If you hold down the control key, it actually shows you a wireframe. And you can see a wireframe of all your landscape. And obviously if you look down you can see the water. Turn it down a bit. You can actually see the water below that as well. You see it moving under there? So obviously it's being drawn under that landscape at the moment. One thing I haven't checked, I can't do it in 3D mode, was whether it drops the FPS when it does that. But obviously the system does slow down quite a lot. Because it's drawing a 3D wireframe, textures, well it's actually drawing water over this whole map, ironically enough, which is pretty cool. Anyway, let's get some entities in. So if we press E, we'll go into entity mode, okay, and obviously I'm going to cycle through them. So arrow next to the question mark will bring up your items. So you'll see that every item I'm placing here I've already had somewhere else. Just like before, if you press R, it'll rotate the object. If you hold Shift and press R, it'll rotate the opposite direction. Now, they haven't implemented up and down yet, so you can't sink anything into the ground or raise it above the ground as yet. The other thing I noticed that you can't quite do yet, obviously, stairs would be great if we could raise them, but because I don't have that ability, I can only place them next to each other. So I have no way to make these stairs, oh, hang on, no, there's no way to place that stair on top of the other one as yet. But I'm sure with Lee's genius mind, he'll figure something out. Because I'd love to be able to lean these ladders against some trees or buildings and have stairs going places. We've got trees, we can rotate those around, which is great. Look at that, we can have our own little rotating tree farm. One thing I really do want them to implement, which they haven't yet, is being able to put objects on top of others. So hypothetically, I'll chuck some bins over here. If we could place objects on top of another, I would be able to put some weapons on top of this table. There it is. So I'd be able to put a tent up, so throw a tent up over our tables. I'd be able to put, I can currently put objects under the table. So if I load a small object, I can put some barrels here, some crates, boxes, put a small tree if need be actually, so all sorts of grass, and we could put tables, but I can't put at this moment anything on that, so I can't put any weapons or anything like that on top of it, but I'm hoping there's going to be implemented some more buttons to be able to do that, so that would be able to, define our levels a little bit better. But other than that, the editor is absolutely fantastic. So great job, Lee. Great job, guys. Yeah, congrats. This is awesome. Look forward to see what you're going to implement next, and the few touch-ups that need doing on this one. That's it, guys. We'll talk to you next time.